Radio station. You want it? You got it. Reality radio done right. No nonsense, real and raw, just like you like it.
He's corrupt, he's inexperienced, and he lies.
Broadcasting from a broom closet in the Arizona Lotus Studios, it's Beef Vegan Presents.
Yo, welcome back to the show. It's Beef Vegan Presents live on Rock 102.1 KFMA, streaming worldwide at KFMA.com on this beautiful Wednesday, October 30th. Good morning, Tucson, and welcome. We'll have Valdez in here a little bit later, late as always, but we got a lot of stuff to get to on this Wednesday. It's going to be a good show. You know, a lot of shows will talk about the World Series, but there's only one here locally that will send one of their correspondents directly to New York City to experience the World Series in person and be a good luck charm for the New York Yankees. And that's this show right here, because our very own Rico is out in the Bronx with his mom, experienced the World Series in person. And it's a very envious position. I'm very happy for the both of them. And last night, it looked like it was going to be doom and gloom for the New York Yankees as they were down 3-0. And the Dodgers were going into the Bronx looking for the sweep, but that did not happen. Not at all, actually. And the Yankees were able to pull out the win. And so now, you know, they're still fighting. They're still fighting. It's still in there. So here's some of the highlights. Of course, Anthony Volpe is always a star when it comes to, the New York Yankees. And he was able to hit a grand slam and went like this.
You don't think he's thinking about gap, clearing the bases right here? The New York kid, bases loaded, 2 out. Cranks the ball, deep left field. Volpe with redemption.
Yeah, they weren't going down without a fight as Anthony Volpe answered back with a grand slam, giving the Yankees a 5-2 lead. And top of the fifth, Will Smith whittled the lead down to 5-3 with a solo shot. And that was followed up by a record-breaking home run by Freddie Freeman as he hit a home run for 6 straight World Series game on this hit, which broke the record for consecutive games with a home run. Check this out.
Into scoring position. Freddie Freeman at the plate. Freeman cracks one deep to right field. And gone again! Freddie Freeman floating in the World Series. 4 games, 4 home runs. You gotta be kidding!
You gotta be kidding! Sorry, I'd like to get excited. Now, as much as those huge home runs were all parts of the highlight, this game will only go down because of the fan interference by the Yankees, which quickly went viral. And people are roasting these two New York Yankees fans, as you know that they're heroes in New York, but villains everywhere outside of New York. Here's exactly what happened and the play. If you weren't watching along, there was a foul ball going off into close to right field. And, Mookie Betts was running up against the wall and was able to catch the foul ball, but his glove was just over the barricade. And there was 2 overzealous New York Yankees fans there who essentially then mugged him and made sure the ball would pop out of his glove. Listen to the chaos as it went down live last night. Right. And they weren't wrong about that, because that fan, both those fans were kicked out almost immediately. Manny has the funniest comment on our Rock 1 2.1 Facebook page so far. He wrote, "It's almost like muggings are alive and well in New York City." Oh, yeah, it's very on par for the New York Yankees. So, but that didn't stop them or curse them because they ended up winning that game 11-4. And a little bit later on, we're going to be checking in with Rico live from New York City because he was at the game. So I want to know all about the chaos, the electricity, the insanity that is being in Yankee Stadium during the World Series. Like I said, a bucket list moment that many of us may be envious of, and he's out there living it. So we'll have on-the-scene reporter Enrico giving us a recap of anything that we missed from Game 4 of the World Series as Game 5 airs tonight. One thing's for sure. Major League Baseball does not mess around when it comes to their World Series. They don't try to prolong it. They're banging these games out every single day. I mean, I was literally thinking, I was like, oh, there's no way. There's got to be like a gap day in between, right? And they're like, nope. Every single day. We're going to wake up. We're going to play a game till this World Series is over. So Game 5 is tonight at Yankee Stadium. So we have a lot to get to on the show today. We're going to give away a 4-pack of tickets to the Celtic Festival. That's going to be happening before 7 o'clock this morning. You're After My Life's at 7:10. And then Dusk Music Festival tickets, well, that's going to be up for grabs in the 8 o'clock hour. On top of all that, we are giving away family 4-pack of tickets for Disneyland Resort. So you're going to be listening for the Disneyland sounder and the keyword to text in, and you want to do so as much as possible. So when you hear that, make sure you text 600KFMA with whatever the keyword is, and you'll qualify for a 4-pack of tickets. That's good for 2 nights, 1 park each night. And like I said, we're doing that each and every day here for the next couple weeks. We have lots of 4-packs to give away. So make sure that you are one of those winners by keeping it right here on Rock 102.1 KFMA. So let's get things moving. Music from Green Day coming up after Nirvana, and your Morning Moron coming up next. Keep it right here. It's Rock 102.1 KFMA. But you know the name of the show. Let's go. Real quick, I need a look of shame from Valdez. This is why you show up 15 minutes early. Did you get stuck in the Amazon traffic?
I did.
Yep.
Yeah, there's the ambulances trying to leave.
No. I pulled up 640 and I had to turn around and hit the exit and then go down to the next freeway exit and pull my way up. Still 15 minutes early. But that's why you got to be 15 minutes early 15 minutes early is on time.
Yes, coach.
And then on time is late. And late is fired. Usually, late is fired, right? But I can't
Good
fire
thing I'm
you.
volunteering.
Yeah, I know. I can't fire a volunteer. But I'm just saying, just life lessons, Valdez. I'm trying to life lessons you. I want you to be the man that you can be. I see you as a man who is underachieving, but has the ability to achieve greatness and anything you aspire to be. You're a great man. But greatness, it never experiences or shows lateness, right? There's no lateness in greatness. Greatness shows up on time. Greatness shows up early. And then mediocrity shows up on time or late.
Settle down, Rocky.
I'm just saying.
It's not how many times you get knocked down. It's how many times you can get back up.
Greatness, it doesn't involve lateness. There's no lateness in greatness. I'll work this out, and eventually we'll put it on a T-shirt. Once I iron out the details and make it the ultimate, inspiring quote. But we're on to something here. If it rhymes, it's true, right?
Yeah, I mean, it has to be.
Yeah. So,
Dr. Seuss can't be wrong.
I'm telling you, he's a fucking billionaire. So, yeah.
And dead.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Go ahead and eat your pizza with your nacho cheese. Oh, my God. I can't believe it. And a monster, how are you alive? Rock 102. Oh, what am I saying? We're back here on the podcast broadcast. Let me introduce our guest in studio after I had to give Valdez a verbal lashing for showing up late. But he is here, and he's about 3/4 of a monster deep. We have Ryan from Phenomenon Concerts. Good morning, Ryan. Welcome to the crew.
Thanks for having me, Beef.
Of course, dude. And now we're going to be talking, the music business, obviously concerts that are coming to town, everything else. And we have a lot to tea to spill. And it's going to be good catching up with you here. You've been a concert promoter for how many years now? Get that microphone close here.
It's been about 25 years. I started in high school. So started when I was 17, 18, and was just going to a lot of shows. And started in Illinois, actually, and was about 90 minutes outside of Chicago. And kind of got tired of driving with friends to Chicago to see everything. And at that time, you could talk to bands and get to know them at VFW halls. And they were like, "Well, if everyone likes you in your city, you should book us there." So I just started doing it. Had no idea what I was doing, and one of the first shows I ever did was the Aquabats when Travis Barker was still the drummer.
Really?
Oh, wow.
So right off the bat, you had the hit Pay Dirt in a way.
Yeah.
What was the draw on your Aquabat show?
It was the Aquabats and the Hippos, and we did about 350 people. It was like a Wednesday night. It was an off date. I think they were all touring with the Bloodhound Gang. So it was a great first show. Everybody had a good time. I mean, other than the hiccups of not having proper PA and things like that, but that's a story for itself.
Yeah. Well, do you recall like how much money you made that first show?
I want to say
What were the tickets?
$12 and $15.
Okay, yeah, 12, 15. That's a good start.
Yeah, $15 was kind of like the threshold for all concerts back then, and like that was a lot. Merch was like $10 for a T-shirt, and those were the golden days. But
Yes, they were.
I want to say, I don't think the show even made more than like $500 for anybody. But I mean, it was a good show, and at that time, I really didn't think you could make money doing it, so it was really just doing it for the love of music.
Yeah, and that's great too because no one taught you how to be a concert promoter per se when you first got into it. I know that you probably worked with some good concert promoters along the way. We're going to talk a lot about that here in the podcast broadcast, but let's get on the air. It's Rock 102.1 KFMA. That was the latest from Daughtry. We're live in the podcast broadcast with Ryan from Phenomenon Concerts. If you're not familiar with the name, you are familiar with the shows that Ryan has been bringing to town for many, many years, 25 years here in the old Pueblo. And honestly, the art of the concert promoter and the local concert promoter is kind of dying out with the conglomerate of like Live Nation trying to bully people out. But, we're going to be talking about that, the business side of things, and also hyping up a bunch of different concerts that Ryan has on the books. Now, real quick, Ryan, do you feel like it's becoming more and more difficult to be able to secure some bands that you've worked with before or built up rapport because Live Nation buys out entire concert runs?
Yeah, I think it's really changed the dynamics of things. Before, there's a term called history that the industry held true for a long time, where if you developed an artist, worked with them, got to know them, had success with them, you'd be able to kind of follow them throughout their careers. And that's really changed. I think it has to do with a lot of factors. I think a lot of the newer artists aren't used to where they were touring for 10 months out of the year in the States, going around in a 15-passenger van, making $250 of a show. With social media, everybody's kind of just blown up overnight, and there really isn't that growth. And you got a lot of young managers that didn't have to go through that, so it's just easier to take a corporate deal and get all their money up front, and it's pretty much out of laziness.
Yeah, well, they have these all-inclusive deals that they're kind of doing, and then, with, that company in particular owning all these venues across the country, they kind of put themselves in a position where, like, we could just easily plug and play, and then if you try to go with another promoter, well, guess what? We're not going to allow them to use our venue, right? So, that's kind of the issue that Congress has been addressing when it comes to that company in particular. But I know, the last time I saw Asking Alexandria, I didn't get to see him this last weekend at Rialto Theater. That was a Live Nation show. Last time I saw them was at Encore. That was your show. So in that situation, you have history with the band, but at the same time, they're like, sorry, we booked the entire tour, and then we got to go with them, right?
Right. In a situation like that, I've probably done Asking Alexandria 5-6 times in Tucson up to that point, and I actually know some of the members personally. And in business, I get it. I used to complain more about it, and you just kind of learn that's just, you got to let it go, but you just can't match these offers with Live Nation, where they have their own ticketing, rebates, kickbacks, and they can offer the artists, if they have 27 dates, 25 dates, percentages and back-end deals that just each market, if it's pieced out, can't offer. And with them owning their own rooms, they have this thing called unmanifested seating, where you go to Van Buren's, different things where there's balconies that you see all these people sitting there, but you don't know how they're getting there. And people are paying thousands of dollars that the artist isn't making, and they're pocketing and able to then take that money to offset to pay the artist more money that if I matched it, I'd be losing money even if the show sold out.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so I mean, it's complicated the way the live concert industry has been going, and we're gonna get into the nitty gritty on this. And there's been a few artists like that where you've kind of nurtured, kind of blown up to the next level. Asking Alexandria being one of them. 21 Pilots? Name drop a couple bands that you worked with in the past.
I mean, Fall Out Boy, Avenged Sevenfold, Coheed and Cambria, the 21 Pilots, Imagine Dragons. I mean, being an independent where you don't own four walls and a roof,
yes,
I would say you almost feel like you're a drug dealer where, you're trying to hit the new corner, what's hot, and you want to get in, get out quick before anybody takes notice. And that's kind of what it is at this point. You're just not going to get the band when they get to the arena level or amphitheater level. And every so often it does happen, but it's few and far between. So, I look at it like it's great. It's it's a great honor to see somebody start from the ground up and build. And it's great to say that you were there. And, for my industry, I feel like the people that work around the artists are always going to be here.
Yes.
So a lot of times you'll see where it's like, hey, I saw you. We worked together first 2 or 3 times in the market. They blow up, but I'm going to see them when they come back down.
Right.
And, for most artists, that is what the case is they get popular and, there's just so much content these days and people, kids, adults move on to new artists, and then they'll come back and start playing the Rialto or different places again. And, it's, hey, how's it going? You're back. So, it is what it is. I mean, it's, but I can't complain. I mean, there's always going to be new music. And as long as I want to hustle and I have passion for it, there's always going to be a show to throw.
Absolutely. And speaking of shows to throw, Ryan has a bunch, and we're going to be going through some of them, including an awesome show from Arizona legend happening this Friday at the Rock. We'll talk more about that. After new music from Linkin Park. Did you ever book Linkin Park?
Yeah, I actually did. When I worked in San Francisco at a venue pre 9/11, and we did a Halloween show. It was a radio show. It was a $10 show. It was Linkin Park, Cottonmouth Kings.
Oh wow!
And they were on a bigger tour. I can't remember who else was on it, but it was great. It was right when Hybrid Theory dropped. No one really cared, and it was good times. But that was the only time.
So they weren't even the headliner for that show.
No, they weren't.
Bloodhound Gang was.
Cottonmouth Kings were.
Oh, he Cottonmouth Kings were. That's funny. Which we'll talk more about that. So we got a lot to get to with Ryan from Phenomena Concerts. But first, here's Emptiness Machine. New music from Linkin Park on Rock 102.1 KFMA. Join us, youtube.com/beefvegan. All right, so now we're back on just the stream part. Yeah, so that's funny. Cottonmouth Kings over Linkin Park. What are you doing? You want to get it? Yeah, get it in his face. Don't be afraid of that. Are you getting feedback from Todd here on the stream? All right.
Why is this?
Don't block his face,
That's
dude.
what I'm trying to, because it was blocking. There we go.
There you go.
So we want this as close as possible.
Well, you could have gave me a heads up with sign language, and I would have played a clip, so we could have did that without your hand all up in Ryan's face.
Sorry.
All right. Let's see. Let's name some bands here. Because I know you have tea on some band. What's the craziest thing you've seen behind the scenes where you just thought a show wasn't going to go down and somehow it just went down?
I mean, the craziest thing I've ever experienced was, I think it's coming up on 5 or 6 years, was the death of Little Peep.
Okay, so that was your show.
Yes.
So that was on my birthday, and honestly, Little Peep literally popped on my radar a couple months prior. And I went down the rabbit hole on Lil Peep. So when it was going, I was like, okay, yeah, you know what? I think I want to check this out. This kid's got a lot of buzz. They were calling him emo rap, and yeah, so you booked this show at The Rock. He shows up, does sound check and everything. Everything looks like it's good to go. Goes into his bus, never comes out again.
Yeah, I mean, what Pete was doing with music is kind of reminds me of like the Fall Out Boy era, where I mean he was sampling Postal Service, different things, and these kids were going to shows. They had no idea what the samples were, but it was kind of the same type of audience where you had young kids that would be the Hot Topic, Spencer's purchasers, parents are doctors, lawyers, but their kids are showing up with holes in their shirts and jeans and baggy pants and kind of like a Warped Tour vibe. And very, very special artist. I think he would have had a great career, and he had the trajectory to be a superstar.
Yeah.
And it has really led to a lot, like the Suicide Boys that are selling out arenas that have no streams. I mean, no radio play, like not selling albums,
Yeah.
but are selling out basketball stadiums throughout the country.
I know, it's crazy. My daughter loved the Suicide Boys too, and me being an old school hip hop head too, I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll check it out, and I'm just like, God damn, I don't like these guys. I was just says like, I'm like, this is like '90s rap, but like at the beginning of '90s rap.
Yeah, like Suicide Boys kind of reminds me of, I don't want to say it's the same fan base or the same sound, but kind of like what ICP or different people. It's very underground and a vibe you can dance, mosh to, whatever.
Yeah, but they got a huge fan base and that follows them. Yeah. So have you booked Suicide Boys here in Arizona?
No, a good friend of mine, Edwin, has done it in the past. They actually played like a small hole in the wall, like 50-person show, and they did. I think they played they might have been a support for like Puya or somebody over the years.
Here we're getting on the air. Rock 102.1 KFMA. Welcome back to Beefy Gibbs Presents. We're hanging out here with Ryan from Phenomena Concerts, and talking about the life of a concert promoter. Ryan was actually the concert promoter for a Lil Peep show at The Rock, which legendarily never happened, as Lil Peep passed away at The Rock right before his show. Now, you're there on site as this happens, right? A lot of questions probably get flooded towards your direction. What's your first initial reaction once you hear that Lil Peep has passed away?
It was a very strenuous situation. A lot of it could have been, who knows? I mean, you can't really fight addiction and, no real solution for that. But it was really kids running around with kids on tour, and it was his last day of tour, which makes it even more sad.
Yeah.
But like usually, like in a situation like that, especially at where he was with his career, he had should have had proper people in place, and the tour manager's out partying, having a good time, not around. And he was a really nice kid, and I had worked with him a few times prior to that in Phoenix, and it's just a tragedy what happened where, once you see what happened and you see the videos that came out after the fact, somebody should have got help. And took a lot of interviews, had, police, different people call after that, and had heard from DEA people that the amount of fentanyl that he took would have killed a whale.
Wow.
So I don't know if Narcan or pumping stomachs would have done anything, but it's sad. And not really diving into the situation. What happened was there was a young girl and her brother came to the show, knew he liked to do drugs. They gave him Xan bars, but they were fentanyl, and they didn't tell him, and they just thought he would enjoy it. And he took his normal amount of Xanny bars during the day, and basically his body just shut down on the bus. And everyone's drinking, partying, hanging out with him, making fun of him in videos. And it's just a sad, sad story of just what should not have happened. So getting back to the main point of it, it was about 9:00. He was supposed to go on stage. No one could figure out what was going on. The sound guy, the DJ.
At this point, everyone's packed into the venue.
Yeah. It was basically sold out.
Yeah.
And there was some staff members that then went on the bus, and he was basically blue on the ground.
Wow.
And just no one called the police, nothing. It was just kind of like they supposedly, there was drugs on the bus, different things, kids running around with kids, and they didn't want to get in trouble. And at that point, it was just, ambulances showing up and trying to keep it private. I mean, it's just a terrible situation where all the people on the bus were his friends. Yeah. And that's who you felt the worst for. Is not, those are his family. They're stuck in Tucson. They don't know anybody. There's nowhere for them to go to grieve. You're trying to make it private to, basically when all the fans got out of the show, they thought maybe like there was a drug overdose. There was kind of speculation going on.
Yeah, was there an announcement? Did you have to make a stage announcement that the show that they all paid to go see wasn't going to happen because there was a medical emergency?
Yeah, we announced it was a medical emergency. People filed out. People were mad. People were punching security. Like it was almost a riot.
Oh, wow.
To begin.
Yeah.
And even when the ambulance and everybody waited for most of the crowd to disperse, there was probably 50 people hanging out. So even when the first ambulance left or the fire trucks left, and he had already been pronounced dead, people really thought he was already at the hospital. Like no one really knew the gravity of the situation. I think it was Diplo or Dead Mouse or there was some famous DJ that tweeted something out about his passing, and then
it sank in.
Then the whole situation blew up. But yeah, it was a terrible situation, and just seeing the sadness of his friends and family, and just having to sit on couches in the Rock and be there till 2, 3 in the morning, and they were all having to wait to get their plane the next morning, and it was a terrible situation. It just and it's one of those things when you look back at it, and I knew Peep's manager that worked with RX Bandits back in the day and had relationships, and it seems like something that could have been avoided. Again,
Right.
It comes down to addiction. Like you just, people need to be in recovery forever, and are always
Right.
dealing with it. So,
But that's the thing with when you're doing live events like this, you never know when tragedy is going to strike, right?
Correct.
And the age-old saying is the show must go on. The show couldn't go on there, but you still have to deal with it, being the concert promoter, and have to essentially attempt to put out the fires, and both there on scene and then fiscally afterwards. So chaos, just strictly chaos that nobody would ever be able to expect. And that's just one of the many stories I'm sure you accumulated over your 25-year career. We're talking more with Ryan from Phenomenon Concerts on the podcast broadcast. When we return, we have a low-dose show that we're very excited to present for you with a band called Return to Dust. I'm going to play their new single, Belly Up, right here on the show. So keep it right here on Rock 102.1 KFMA, or join us, youtube.com/beefvegan. Clear. All right, so, that's crazy. So did they, in that situation, I'm sure, did people demand refunds, or are they grieving too much?
At the time, people were, of course, when they didn't know exactly the extent of the situation, were complaining to the door people, venue staff. That's when people, like one of the girls that work there got punched in the face. I mean,
Jesus, yeah.
at the end of the day, it's literally the next day. There's just an email that gets sent to Ticketmaster, and we need to refund everybody because the show is not postponed; it's canceled. And
So did you lose money on that show?
Yeah, you lose money. I mean, you have your marketing and venue costs and different things that you're going to have to pay regardless. And artists aren't going to pay for it. It's all part of the language. I mean, the artist is fully protected in a situation like that.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't know. But when it comes to concert promoters, you don't make money every show. I worked with Danny Zalisco for many years, and he told me, he's like, it's an annual gig, right? So you're looking at your gross of what you make at the end of the year, not individual shows. There's going to be shows that you lose money because you're building those relationships. It's difficult, though, when you build those relationships and then a band that you have a relationship with gets stolen out from underneath you, right? Because you're like, hey, man, I've already put in the blood, sweat, and tears and invested in this and lost money 3 different times for the payoff because I believed in the payoff, right? So what's the band that you felt like you invested the most in that you never got to be able to do the payoff gig with because they got yanked from you?
I mean, that's a loaded question. I mean, there's probably 24 I could probably go off of.
Uh-huh.
I would say the one that didn't get the biggest payday was probably 21 Pilots. I mean, I had
Yes.
them in the basement of the Nile, helped, take pianos downstairs. We sold out the Rialto. They did come to the Rialto. We had a sold out show. I think I had one of the Mark Phoenix shows too. That was a bigger show, but not at the next level. Another one would probably be Travis Scott. Did all of the rodeo days when Travis Scott was first coming up. But we sold out the Marquee, we sold out the Rialto, we sold out the Press Room. So I mean, there was shows, but again, usually to the arena level, there hasn't been very many that I've been able to continue on. There was like Khalid, Russ, some more of the hip hop guys are more loyal, I feel, to the independents. But for the most part, you are right. It's the long game, and you are. The term promoter gets thrown around all the time, where people really don't know what a promoter is.
Right.
I always look at it as you're a producer, so it's no different than somebody that produces a movie or whatnot. So like movies come out and they're box office hits or they're bombs. And so you're not always going to make money. So as the producer, you're basically the bank of the event. You're renting the venue, marketing, selling the tickets, basically covering the whole nut of what it costs to put it together. So yeah, in the long game, there's managers, agents that you work with that if you want to stay in business, you have to do all their acts.
Yeah.
So, if you win on 7 out of 10 shows, you're going to be in the black at the end of the year, and you should just be thankful, and that's just what it is. But yeah, there are times there'll be a 3-month stretch where everything is making money, and it's great. You're like, okay, you're rolling. It's almost like it's gambling
It is
for a living.
It is.
But then you could have a month stretch where every show loses money, and it's the peaks and valleys of emotion where you're like high and mighty, like let's go on vacation, let's go spend some money, and then it's like, okay, well, just lost all
Let's
this
eat
money.
ramen,
Yeah, let's eat ramen for sure.
What was your most successful show? The one that you felt like was just the biggest draw, but just like top to bottom success. Everyone walked away happy, and you felt like basically high off of.
I would say my greatest accomplishment would probably be we did the Oro Valley Music Festival,
Yeah.
and to see that grow, and it was just a passion project. It wasn't it wasn't a money making thing for really anybody involved other than the radio station.
Yeah.
But being involved in something in the community, and it was really a community event, that was special to me. Also, just the turnouts were great, big numbers. Actually, my biggest show ever was back in March. I got to do a Vultures listening party with Ye or Kanye West, formerly of Kanye.
You did
West.
that?
Yeah, did that event. So we did.
At the arena?
Yeah, at the Suns Arena. So that was like a very special moment. I mean, people that know me personally, I'm a huge Phoenix Suns fan, and also just to be able to do a show like that.
How'd this land in your emails? What happened?
I do a lot of events with his agent at the time. Her name's Kara Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
She does Travis Scott, does Khalid, has had Eminem since the beginning of his career. She was the one that put together the NWA tour that the movie's based off of. I mean, she's like one of the biggest people in the industry. And she approached me about a month before it actually happened.
Yeah, because it's very short notice that the listening partner, because that's the way that Kanye does it, right?
Yeah, so about a month out, we thought it was going to happen, and then he didn't really want to work, and he kind of operates on a week-to-week basis. He doesn't, nothing is planned out, and I was told it was gone. We told the Suns that it was gone. The Suns actually booked like a charity function that day that it was supposed to happen, and then it came back, and literally
the Suns are like, screw you, charity. We got Kanye.
So
sorry, Cancer for Kids. Kanye's coming. Like what?
Yeah, it was like underprivileged kids in a community doing an event with the owner of the Suns, where he was doing a speaking engagement at the arena. So we didn't move it. We didn't move them out of the way. We moved it to the next day. But it was like one of those things. I was at a Suns game, and it was 10:30 at night, and the agent was in New York at 1 a.m, calls me and is like, "This is on." Wow. And so we literally went on sale, I think March 3rd or March 2nd, and the show was March 10th. Wow. It was the quickest show that U.S. Airways, Footprint Center, whatever you want to call it, has ever done.
Did it sell out?
We did like 14,000. It was maybe maybe 800 tickets shy.
In a scenario like that, you don't have to put up like an advance or nothing, right?
Oh yeah. It was the most expensive show I've ever done, and it was the most stressful.
Yeah. Was your butthole clenched the entire
Yeah,
time?
I was very. I mean,
7 days to try to sell out an arena for people to watch Kanye West listen to an album he recorded.
Yeah, and I will say, yeah, it was stressful the entire time. Also, just the volatility of Kanye. Is he going to show up?
Right. Yeah. Then to refund all that if he doesn't.
So it was a crazy scenario where like the sound companies, everything was last minute. So most of the sound staging, different things would be set up 6 months ahead of time.
Yeah.
And all this stuff, he wants the best of the best. So it has to come from LA on no notice. Everybody wanted to be paid up in front before they loaded up their trucks.
Right.
So it was just a very stressful thing. And that's why it was probably the most rewarding, just because it was by far the most risky thing I've ever done. And it's not to say I would have been homeless or,
it would have hurt.
It would have hurt bad.
Yeah,
it would have been hurt bad if it underperformed. And but it was a risk that I had to take. Again, like I was saying, that at that level, you never get offered a show of that big.
We're speaking with Ryan from Phenomenal Records on Rock 102.1 KFMA. Sorry to interrupt, Brian. We got back on the air here. We're talking about, so Ryan was the promoter behind Kanye West's listening party for Vultures that happened at the Suns Arena not too long ago, and how the last minute aspect of this, you can imagine with the chaos and the craziness that is Kanye West's mind and his, flakiness too, to put up the money to say, okay, we'll do this, sell 14,000 tickets, and just hope that he shows up. And then he's happy enough that it goes off without a hitch, so you don't have to refund 14,000 people and lose potentially a six-figure sum. So you were able to pull that off, and as one of your most crowning achievements, which, again, congratulations on that. Backstage, you're back. Like, is it chaotic backstage during this moment? And do you interact with Kanye at all?
I didn't interact with Kanye at all. I did. It was nice that he actually showed up about 2 or 3 in the afternoon. So once he's on site, you're feeling good.
Yeah.
It was a very interesting dynamic. I mean, what the media and TMZ and different things portray of him, you kind of already have your opinion of Kanye.
Yeah.
But it was actually like kind of crazy. I mean, he had all his kids with him. His wife was with him. And it was very interesting to see the dynamic. I was, with my wife and my son and his friends, and, got to be where we were kind of standing on the floor by his family and just his interactions. And I mean, it was great to see him just being a dad.
The human side of him.
Yeah, the human side of him. And it just how much love it seemed him and his wife and his kids had. And also, like, the performance, like, it had great reviews. People loved it. Some of the listening parties didn't go over well, but he was out there for 2 hours, and really,
yeah, he put on a show.
Yeah, I mean, the production that was brought was, cost millions of dollars of quality production, and it was just like going to an arena show. And granted, he wasn't on the mic, but in this day and age, not many people are on the mic.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that too here on the podcast broadcast. But first, I do want to play a song from a band that we are featuring and supporting here for the Rock 102.1 Low Dose show that's happening at the Rock. Return to Dust. Now, they just popped up on your radar as well, right?
Yeah. They're a new up-and-coming band, which is great to see. Love to support new music. And people seem to be pretty excited about them.
Yeah, and they are signed. I don't know which label, but they are a signed band. As we get to know them, we'll probably even have them in studio, hopefully the morning of the show, which is happening Tuesday, November 19th. Now, this is a great low-dose show, which will have a fantastic lineup as well, but a buzzworthy thing. So we're talking with Ryan from Phenomenon Concerts, and the running theme is, like developing bands at an early stage. Like, Ryan was one of the first people that introduced 21 Pilots to Arizona, like bands like that. So this is one of those potential hipster moments where you could be like, hey, I seen them back when, right?
Yeah.
The Mason Jar is a legendary small venue in Phoenix, and, like Nirvana played there. I saw Static X play there, like that's a 150-person venue. You see them when. So this could be one of those moments, and tickets are only $10.21 at KFMA.com. That's an all-ages show. So I need you to turn up the radio and check out this song from Return to Dust and see if you want to be a part of the crew that will be hanging out at the Rock on November 19th. So here's Belly Up from Return to Dust on Rock 102.1. Let's hear a little. Let's look at a video. That's pretty good. So yeah, this one again. I was like, ooh, they're pushing this quickly, right? Like doing a turnaround. Like I don't expect a packed house on a Tuesday night. It's gonna be a tough draw, but
Yeah, it seems like the turnaround for most shows have sped up these days.
yeah, I know. Everyone's so impatient, right?
Very
It's like,
impatient.
there's a way to do this. Now, I was, promoting concerts, and, I have a few under my belt, and I'm from Phoenix, and I was on independent radio station KWSS. And so that was how I made money, because I wasn't getting paid by doing my morning show on KWSS. So there's, a few acts like Congos and Mother, and that I learned that side of the industry working with Danny Zalisco. So I know it well, and I respect it. I respect the hell out of it because I know how hard it is. A lot of people think, oh, yeah, you just get a great band and you say on sale, it does the rest. But no, there's a lot that goes into it and a lot of gamble, like you said. Hold on, somebody's calling. Rock 1 2.1, who's this?
Hey, it's Brad.
What's up?
Hey, just wanted to say that what's like small venue concerts, it's really great because, people, you never know who you're going to see.
Right.
And like when I was young, back in my 20s, I was lucky enough to see like the Chili Peppers at the Rock.
Yeah, there you go.
They were there and Circus of Power opened for them.
Right. That's
And
actually a good segment idea,
you never
Brad.
know who you're going to see or who's going to be a breakout band, and, just to not take those type of venues for granted.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that. And you gave me an idea, Brad, which I'm going to, say on the air, basically hipster cred. I want to throw out there, see if anyone will call in and brag about a massive band they saw at a smaller venue. And then I'll have Ryan try to one-up them. But I'll tell you what, though, and you might have to call back on that because I think Chili Peppers at the Rock, I think that's a winner right off the bat. It's really going to be hard to top that one for sure. But I appreciate the call, Brad.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. And we'll talk to y'all later.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Ryan. So you've been doing this since you were a teenager. Do you have any cheat codes or any advice that you could give somebody who's starting out, they want to be a promoter, even at this level where it's like local shows?
Valdez wants to be your competition. How can he steal your business away from you?
I'm like, after hearing these stories, I'm like, no, promoter's bad.
Well, you have to have, capital. You have to be willing to lose money. And just like any business, right? You're going to lose money before you make money. Sometimes, Ryan started off hot with, the Aquabats show, but I'm sure, the next couple ones were kind of like either break evens or whatever.
I think to answer your question would be...
Well, hold that thought. Sorry to interrupt. I got to get... There you go. That's Return to Dust with Belly Up and Rock 1 2.1 KFMA. Again, our Low Dose Show, Phenomena Concerts and Rock 1 2.1 presents that band at the Rock November 19th. Only $10.21. Get those tickets at KFMA.com. I'm going to throw out a real quick question and keep the conversation moving on the podcast broadcast. What is your hipster cred, right? We just had Brad call in. Said he saw the Red Hot Chili Peppers at the Rock. All right, what's the biggest band you saw in the smallest venue? A lot of us have those moments where we're like, I saw them back when. Share it with me at 600 KFMA, 600-5362, or comment along at youtube.com/pfegan. More of the podcast broadcast coming up after music from Foo Fighters. All right, continue.
I think in this day and age I think most concert goers for the most part are 16 to 25. Then people get lives, they get jobs, they start having families. And, there's still the people that are older that enjoy concerts and go to concerts, but maybe not as frequently as a young person. And especially with like movie theaters kind of like, dying out, bowling alleys, malls, there really isn't a spot for young people to go. So concerts are kind of the go-to spot. So I would think like if you were going to start trying to do concerts or be interested in music, it's really finding music that you hold dear to your heart and try to push it. You can push it on your own social media, whatnot. But with everybody on TikTok, on Instagram, on all the other social media platforms, I think that if you wanted to be successful in this, you would need to learn those platforms and know how to take advantage of them and how to promote properly.
Exactly. Be a promoter and like self-promoter. Hold that thought. Let's go to the phones here because that's good. You're giving them too much for free. Rock 1 2.1, who's this? Oh, say it again. Sorry, I didn't have the channel on. Oh, what's your name?
It's Jose.
Jose. All right, what's your hipster cred?
So, real quick, I just want to say, dude, that band you just played, dude, they're pretty dope. I was getting some kind of like Greta Van Fleet vibes off
Right.
it.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I got some classic rock vibes.
And I was gonna say the band that I saw that was kind of up close and personal, I'd say was Atreyu when they played at the Rock, and then I also seen was it Saliva?
No.
Okay.
Well, Atreyu was the better one, but when we're in the middle of the mosh pits, bro, the guy got off of the stage and was walking through the mosh pit and went to go order a shot in the middle of his song, which was pretty dope.
Nice. All right, one up that, Ryan. Atreyu at the Rock. What do you one upping with?
I'd go with A Day to Remember at the Rock. They played there twice.
Ooh. Better luck next time, Jose. But that's good. I'm sure that Atreyu show was fun too. All right, Rock 102.1. Who's this?
Hey, this is Brian.
All right, Brian. Give me your hipster cred. What was the biggest band you saw in the smallest venue?
The biggest band I saw was Savatage
Okay.
at the Rock.
Okay. The Rock is a legendary venue, right?
It's a legendary venue.
Yeah, I've been around forever.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right, Ryan. Well, I hate to do this to him, but go ahead and one up him.
That's tough. I'd go with Fall Out Boy at Scrappy's.
Fall Out Boy at Scrappy's, Ryan Book, dude. So Fall Out Boy was just announced the headline, the Innings Festival.
Yes, they are.
That's a 7-figure payday for sure. And you could have saw him at Scrappy's for like what, $7?
I think it was $7 or $10.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. Well, there you go. Excellent. Well, we have more hipster cred moments happening here because obviously we got the band Return to Dust coming to the Rock. So who knows how big they'll be? Hopefully you'll join us November 19th. All right, brother.
All right.
All right, cool. Yeah, so I'm going to play that back here on the FM side as well in between songs or just to kind of keep those phone calls coming. So we're going to have more with Ryan. Earlier this morning, we had a crazy morning moron. Oh, shit, there's another call. I got enough time for one more call here. Well, I'll just answer it live. Rock 102.1, who's this? Oh, shit. All right, hello?
Yo, it's Patrick.
All right, Patrick. Real quick, what's your hipster cred moment?
So I saw Ice Nine Kills at a small venue in Lafayette, Louisiana, with about 25, maybe 30 people.
Okay,
Nice.
yeah, Antonio, that's good, and that's good because we don't know that region, so we can't double check it. All right, Ryan, one up them.
Well, going with a small crowd like that, we'll go with Avenged Sevenfold with their original lineup at Scrappy's with maybe 15 to 20 people there.
Original lineup we dropped on you. Yeah. Excellent. All right, I'm playing back this call here. Thanks for the call, Ryan.
All right.
Or it's Patrick, I'm sorry. Thanks for the call, Patrick. All right, let me play Morning Moron from earlier. I'm playing back these calls. We'll be back with more of Ryan from Phenomena Concerts right after this. If May, welcome back to Beef Vegan Presents. It's 6:14 and time for your Morning Moron. Let's go. Good morning, Valdez.
Morning.
Drop it for him.
I'm Valdez.
There you go. All right, now you know that they're making a sequel to Happy Gilmore, right?
I heard something about that, yeah.
Yeah, that's a fact. Adam Sandler, I think they're in post-production right now, but yeah, they are. They wrote and they announced that Happy Gilmore 2 is going to be a reality, which is good news. And if you're asking yourself, why are you bringing that up during Morning Moron? Well, because I think the lesson of the day for Morning Moron is it's better to leave Happy Gilmore on the screen as opposed to being Happy Gilmore on the green. Huh?
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
If it's rhyming, it's true.
Exactly. I got a lot of rhyming going on today. But yeah, today's Morning Moron is a wannabe Happy Gilmore. This happened at Burnaberry Mountain Golf Course near Vancouver on October 12th. There's a video that just came out, and I'm going to play it in the podcast broadcast because it's hilarious. I can't play it right now because there's tons of F-bombs in it. Oh. But it sounds like the victim or someone that this golfer was with hit into a group in front of them. Now, this is a no-no when you're golfing, right? You got to yell out 4. You don't hit into a group in front of you.
There's like etiquette to it.
100%, right? Now, you could hear the victim say it was a mistake, but the guy immediately cracked him with his driver so hard that the club head snapped off.
What?
Yes. He went full-blown Happy Gilmore, high-sticking this guy to the dome.
Wow.
The guy he hit went down and started rolling on the ground, holding his head. So, he rocked him. Now, they say luckily he wasn't seriously hurt, but I don't know.
Damn.
A driver gets, slammed on top of your head.
That's a thick skull if he didn't get that majorly injured.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, now his friends freaked out but didn't retaliate because they're a bunch of little bitches. The guy filming stayed very calm and very Canadian about it, saying, "Hey, bud, can we de-escalate this, eh?" I swear to God, that's a quote. That is a quote. And this video and the podcast broadcast is going to be amazing to watch. And now cops showed up, arrested the guy who they described as quote unquote intoxicated, and which you could describe me as shocked right now.
I was like, a drunk golfer. What?
I know. It sounds like he'll be facing charges for assault with a deadly weapon. So today's lesson again, it's you have to keep Happy Gilmore on the screen. Do not be Happy Gilmore on the green. You cannot freak out like this and be mean and take your driver and try to drive it through somebody's head during any dispute.
Don't
care
be
what it
mean
is.
on the green.
Don't be mean on the green. You know what I mean? All right, I know. We're just warming up. I'm not going to be rhyming all day, but I'll throw a couple more bars out before I drop this mic. Anyways, the guy who went golfing, went full Happy Gilmore, tried to take someone's head off, is definitely going to be today's Morning Moron. And we're back here live, hanging out here with Ryan from Phenomenon Concerts. We're going to talk about the different concerts that are coming to town before we wrap things up with a beef tip. But it's good. Have you done any events at MSA Annex yet?
No, I have not.
Nice. Well, not nice, actually. I've participated in a couple of little festival setups there. I think that's a 1,500. I think anywhere from 1,000 to a 1,500 cap in that main area.
I do like the ramen spot there, though.
The ramen spot's great and stuff like that. I do think, I got my eyes on that for a mini fest, like a small ball is what I want to call it instead of a fall ball. Because we get people all day long, saying,
Hello?
"Hey, what's up? Who's this?"
Smiley.
Smiley. All right. What's the biggest band you saw in the smallest venue?
I saw Rob Halford
Okay.
at the Rock. He wasn't with Judas Priest. He was with a side band called Fight.
Okay. Did you put that show on?
No, I did not do that one.
Okay. Nice. That's awesome, dude. Did you get to hang out with Rob afterwards?
Yeah, man. Rob Halford, man.
Did you wear matching chaps?
No.
Ah, you should have.
I just wore my skull cap and Zeppelin shirt. I think.
Awesome, Smiley.
This was a while ago.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Smiley, I got to answer their call, but I love the call, brother. Thanks for calling in.
All right, man. Thanks.
All right, no problem. All right, Rockwell 2.1, who's this?
Yo, this is Steve, the Uber driver from Tucson.
Oh, Steve, yeah, I got
No way.
Yeah, Steve wrote me an F My Life email this morning, which we're still confused about with your pube somehow got caught in your foreskin and the tip of your schlong while you're driving and you couldn't shimmy.
Oh, I have no idea how it creeped in there, man. I have no idea.
Well, you are you calling about the bands? Because I don't have time to talk about your foreskin issues right now.
No. I was calling about the band. So back in the early 2000s when you guys were doing free ball,
Yeah.
I went and seen Yellow Card at the Rialto.
Oh, yes. But that's still a big show, actually. Rock 102.1 KFMA. That's, unfortunately, we got Steve on the phone right now as we're hanging out with Ryan from Phenomena Concerts. You mentioned free ball, which was something that KFMA used to do back in the day, a few years. And the reason why we can't do free ball now is because the industry changed, right? Because, we used to, record labels used to put this on. So Steve said he saw Yellow Card at Rialto for a free ball, which is a free show at Rialto. It sounds great, right? Why don't you guys do that anymore? Well, guess who paid for it? The record label, because they want people to buy albums. So tell me the last time you bought an album, and then I will try to put on a free show for you. All right? So, because people just don't do that anymore. So the way that these bands and labels make money now is to get them on the road, and that's where Ryan from Phenomena Concerts gets involved as well. So it's all part of that business. As everything that in our media landscape continues to evolve and change, and we're trying to figure it out as we go. Right? But that's awesome. Hey, Steven, thanks for the FML email earlier this morning. Did you hear your F My Life?
Yeah,
I did, man. I did.
Okay, good.
I actually had an Uber. I had an Uber rider laughing her ass off.
That Uber passenger definitely knows way too much about your penis now. But I do appreciate the email, brother, and thanks for the call.
Hey, rock on, guys.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, like 3 stars. So
You think he was excited? He's like, that's me. That's who they're talking about.
yeah, like no, don't tell anyone. All right, anyways.
That's a lot of information for a radio show.
So much. Well, that's what we do. We give a lot of information on this radio show. Speaking of which, you've been busy at work. What are some cool events that you're bringing to town that people need to check out, and how can they check these out?
I have on Friday we have Authority Zero with Mad Caddies at the Rock.
Yeah.
Also, if you're going to go to the Phoenix area, we have Dayseeker. Dayseeker was at the Rialto maybe a few months ago, and we sold out. And the Phoenix show is going to be sold out too.
Nice.
Let's see here. We got Trapped. Will be at the Rock on November 3rd.
That's huge. Yeah, this Sunday, Trapped at the Rock. So doors open at 7, shows at 7:30. PhenomenonConcerts.com. Keep going.
We have Phantom Planet at 191 Tool on November 5th. They're the one that had California. That was the OC theme song.
Isn't what Jason?
He's not in the band anymore, but
Okay.
Jason Schwartzman, yes,
Yeah,
he was
Jason
the
Schwartzman's-
original drummer of the band, but he will not be there.
That's a great song too, though. Phantom Planet. That's an excellent band. So at 191 Tool, up a close personal, loving that one. Oh, good. You put on this Kat Von D. I want Kat Von D on the show. So like, give me a contact information so I could email. But I didn't even know Kat Von D had a band.
Oh yeah. I think she's on album number 2. I don't think it's out yet, but she did just put out a new single. But yeah, she has a rock band, and she is bringing her husband out on tour with her in Prayers.
Nice.
So Kat Von D and Prayers will be at Encore on November 7th. And there's meet and greet packages, different things if you want to meet Kat. But her music's cool. It's very like
rock and
pop
roll.
rock.
Yeah. Yeah, the legendary Kat Von D is going to be in Tucson November 7th, and I know a lot of you out there want to meet her as well, so meet and greet packages are available. And then again, that's phenomenalconcerts.com. A couple more, though. You got Mod Sun.
Yeah, Mod Sun, Lovely the band. They're coming on November 8th at 191 Tool.
Awesome.
And then we have Crowbar coming November 8th to The Rock. So a couple different shows to choose from on that day in Tucson.
You're talking within the next couple weeks. So I want you guys, don't forget that there are still great shows that are coming to town. All right. So a lot of complaints is, why is everything cool up in Phoenix? Well, check out PhenomenonConcerts.com, and you'll realize that there are a lot more cooler shows happening right down the street than you would think. And Ryan, I appreciate you for coming in and giving us the heads up. This is the first time, but definitely not the last. Because I feel like we're just scratching the surface of the cool stuff that we could talk about. So PhenomenonConcerts.com to get all ticket information on that. And don't forget, we are putting on a Low Dose show featuring the band Return to Dust, and that's happening very, very soon. Tickets only $10.21, and you can get those at KFMA.com. We're going to take off. That's all the time we have for the show, but thank you, everyone, for listening. As always, drive safe, ride safe, and rock local. Later.
Fuel your weeknights with Hard Drive
And
XL,
we are-
hosted by Lou Brutus.
Oops, sorry. And we are clear on the FM side. So, yeah, thanks again, Ryan. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
no, I'm happy to come on whenever.
Yeah, well.
Thanks for
reach
bringing
out
all the
again.
cool stuff to Tucson.
I like
man.
Lovely the band as well. Matt Carney, we're at Rialto. Yeah. You're keeping this calendar busy, man. A couple 191 Tool ones. Are you gonna try to do Encore more? If the band's
if they want to play there. I mean, it's just Tucson's in a tough spot just because, again, what you were saying, like radio with labels just is not as important as it used to be. Where like there are certain bands like Return to Dust where they're trying to get radio play, and you're like, we got to go play this market. But for the most of the legacy, I'd say almost all the bands that have been on are almost legacy artists at this point.
Yes.
And it's a business at this point. It's all about money, and the Rialto is just too small.
Yep.
And there's no jump, and
I know.
Nobody wants to play the casino. It's all seated, and then so it's like you got to go on the arena, and you've seen it, Incubus. Like nobody can do it.
I know it's tough. Well, Incubus was on a weeknight, but that underperformed, and it was unfortunate. We were there at the Tucson Arena, and I work with the Tucson Radio because Roadrunners too. And they want it. The people at Tucson Arena.
They want it, and like
Yeah.
Glenn and Kat, they really want Tucson. They want shows to come, but it also just comes down like for bands at that level, they have families. It's a business at that point. It's not about really the love of music anymore. And it's even like Taking Back Sunday or the Used. I thought that was going to happen here around when we were young, and gave them almost double the money they've ever got in Tucson, and they still went to Phoenix, and even though they were just there 3 or 4 months earlier, because there's just more money.
Yeah, and they performed. They did that at the Tempe,
Mole
Arena.
Yeah, that's like the new spot that like people are tired of Mesa Amphitheater. They don't put any money.
10 o'clock.
The 10 p.m. and they don't put any money into the place, and there's no rigging points. So I think Mullet Arena is going to be like Taking Back Sunday was kind of the guinea pig for the rock bands, but I think you're going to see more stuff go in there.
I was not surprised about that. When I saw that, I was like, okay, that makes sense, because that venue is kind of like the perfect venue in that area, because it's not a 10,000 seater, right?
No, I think it's like 5,000.
Yeah.
So that's a good spot for a lot of bands. Like instead of going into
in between that,
Arizona Financial or Dodge, whatever it's called now, they like go in there. That wouldn't be 5,000 seats.
Yeah.
It can be almost all GA other than in the round.
I think Dodge is also. I think Dodge is like 8,000. So it's a weird step up, you know. And so there's an area where it's like either there's a big jump from being a marquee level band to being like either a Dodge Theater band or even an arena band, right? So that in between, and it's like you could do 2 shows, or now there's these 5,000 person caps. Mesa Amp's usually good for those kind of reggae bands as they were building up, but you're right, they don't do shit with that venue. I like it. I like the amphitheater just because it's kind of chill, but to be an artist and working it is abysmal. It's like they just stopped messing with it. But with it being 5,000 seats in Tempe with college students, I'm sure tons of routing will go through there. Bands who can't sell out an arena, but could easily sell out market.
Yeah, you could still take your production that you'd be playing in other arenas and markets that they are more successful in.
Yeah.
It just makes sense.
It's a safe bet too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a safe bet.
And with the Coyotes gone, it opened up all the dates. Yeah. That still hurts.
It's sad. No, that's sad.
I know.
It's sad.
Well, dude, it was great hanging out with you and talking with you. So, we'll do this again very soon. All right, everyone else, thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow morning with more tickets for Dust Music Festival, more tickets for the Celtic Music Festival, Mari and Emil, and so much more. So, later.